Clashing swords and super strict honor codes. That's what samurai movies are all about. They've been around forever, though the really famous ones by Akira Kurosawa are a bit older. Don't worry, samurai flicks are still being made. These new ones mix in awesome action, history lessons, and even make you think about right and wrong. We're talking about legendary heroes and even some not-so-perfect ones, all struggling with loyalty and duty and fighting for what's right. This video showcases 15 of the coolest samurai movies made since 2000, with epic revenge stories, samurai facing a changing world, and fights so good, they'll make you order a katana online. And hey, we promise that they aren't all just Hiroyuki Sanada blockbusters, we've tried to keep the list diverse. That said, before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Number 1. The Last Samurai, 2003. Let's start the list with a Tom Cruise flick. Colonel Bagley, the former commanding officer of U.S. Army Captain Nathan Algren, approaches the skilled soldier in 1876, and he's turned into a bitter alcoholic due to his trauma from the atrocities he committed during the American Indian Wars. Bagley requests that he instruct the recently formed Imperial Japanese Army for a Japanese businessman named Omura. Omura plans to use the army to put down a rebellion led by samurai against the country's new emperor. The poor Algren accepts the job for the money, even though he despises Bagley. Sergeant Zebulon Gant, an old friend, travels with him to Japan. Algren first encounters British translator Simon Graham, who is well versed in samurai culture, upon arrival in Japan. Algren is drawn into the world of samurai and their code of honor as things go on. He begins to doubt his own allegiances after seeing their bravery, devotion, and sacrifice. Algren makes the samurai leader Katsumoto his friend and starts to respect their way of life. The Satsuma Rebellion of 1877, led by Saigo Takamori, and the westernization of Japan by external forces served as the basis for the plot of the movie. Number 2. The Twilight Samurai, 2002. How can this list have any honor if we don't mention Hiroyuki Sanada? Amidst the backdrop of feudal Japan in the 1860s, we are introduced to Iguchi Seibei, a humble samurai who lives in a small village. His life is not at all like the romanticized picture of a warrior. Rather, he works hard as the clan's bookkeeper. He is now a widower after the death of his wife from tuberculosis, and despite his limited resources, she is given a magnificent funeral. Seibei's daily activities are centered around taking care of his 2 young daughters, Keano and Ito, and his elderly mother, who's suffering from dementia. Because he returns home early every evening to take care of his family, instead of spending traditional nights out with fellow samurai for dinner, geisha entertainment, and sake, his samurai colleagues call him Tasogare, Twilight. Seibei disregards his appearance despite being a samurai. He doesn't take baths or shave his head. Providing for his daughters and making sure his mother is well are his top priorities, even if it means foregoing brand new clothing or the indulgence of regular baths. However, when Tomo, a friend from childhood, moves back to the area, Seibei's life takes an unexpected turn. Tomo is unusual. She was a tomboy as a child and challenges social conventions. She's the sister of Inama Michinojo, one of his kinder samurai friends. Tomo, who recently was divorced from an abusive, intoxicated husband, turns to Seibei's daughters for comfort. Seibei struggles with fatherhood duties, clan loyalties, and the rekindling of his childhood bond with Tomo as the end of feudal Japan draws near. His journey reveals the quiet strength and resilience of a man caught between tradition and change amid societal expectations and personal struggles. Number 3. The Last Ronin, 2010. A group of 47 samurai planned and executed an attack on a lord's estate in early 18th century Japan to exact revenge for their own lord's untimely death. In accordance with tradition, 46 of them ritually end their lives after the deed, and all samurai thereafter recognize them as heroes. The 47th samurai is chosen to live in order to traverse the territory, supporting the 46's dependents and bear witness to their valor. That person is Kichimon Terasaka, and at the beginning of our story, he has just finished 16 years of travel in order to locate and assist the families he was directed to assist. Returning to Kyoto, he stays with a different lord until the 17th year ceremony honoring the 46 takes place. The one disgrace of his group, the samurai Megozemon Seno, who fled the night before the attack and hasn't been seen since, is the person he believes he spies on while he is there. He lives in a modest house on the outskirts of town with a young woman named Miss Kane, and he keeps his secrets from everyone. However, secrets can no longer be kept a secret, not after 16 years. The audience may enter this film expecting epic samurai battles, but there's actually only one. It is told in flashback and very briefly. This is a marvelously subtle and beautifully acted film. No, this is a study of the warrior's inner culture, how the warrior code generates and represses emotions, the strong emphasis on duty and honor, and the resolve to uphold one's loyalty and integrity above all else, not a study of warrior culture in Japan through the lens of the code of battle. The film explores themes of love and guilt, as well as loneliness and loss. The actors, particularly Koji Yakusho, give these themes a great deal of depth and emotion, and whenever the camera lingers on his expressive face, we are captivated by the humanity that shines through. A true gem. Number 4. 47 Ronin, 2013. We know you've probably heard about this movie before and how much it sucked, but hear us out. The 2013 American historical fantasy action movie 47 Ronin was directed by Carl Rinch. The Chushingura, a fictional story of the 47 Ronin, a real-life group of masterless samurai in 18th century Japan who battled rival Kira Yoshinaka to avenge the death of their daimyo, Asano Naganori, is stylized in the movie. While this movie faced a lot of criticism, it's really not bad at all. Kai is an outcast who's half Japanese and half English in late medieval Japan. The kind ruler of the Ako domain, Lord Asano, saves Kai. Because of Kai's mixed heritage, Mika Asano's daughter falls in love with him despite the disdain of her father's samurai. But things get complicated when Lord Kira, the shogun's master of ceremonies, enlists the aid of the shape-shifting kitsune Mizuki in an attempt to seize Ako for himself. While on a hunting trip, Mizuki sends a Kirin to kill Asano and his men. After killing the monster with a fallen sword, Kai finds Mizuki disguised as a white fox with rainbow-colored eyes. During Ako's visit by Shogun Tokugawa Tsunayoshi, Kai spots Mizuki, who's dressed as a concubine and has the same multicolored eyes. The movie offers a distinctive interpretation of the traditional story of loyalty, retaliation, and honor by fusing elements of fantasy, action, and historical drama. It transports the audience to a world of giants, samurai, and witches despite major deviations from historical events. Should you watch it? Of course. Here, Keanu Reeves was John Wick before John Wick was John Wick. Of course, minus the guns and the sophistication, but still, it's a fun flick. Number 5. The Hidden Blade, 2004. Yoji Yamada directed our next movie, The Hidden Blade. Honest but lowly in the samurai hierarchy, Munezo Katagiri is stuck in a state of imbalance between his personal and professional lives. He secretly feels something for his family's maid Ki, though he's aware that a relationship between them is unfeasible because of social conventions and their different roles. Munezo, who was brought up to honor historical customs and uphold strict moral code of the samurai, is faced with a difficult choice. He is compelled by circumstances to consider the future. He is to become an expert in Western military tactics, especially artillery. His task was to track down and eliminate Yaichiro, a skilled swordsman, fellow samurai, and former friend. Realizing that he cannot beat Yaichiro solely with firepower, Munezo turns to his former mentor, the samurai swordsman Kanzai Toda, for assistance. Munezo is given the Hidden Blade's power and secret by Toda, a weapon that has the potential to tip the odds in their favor. Only a small number of the numerous samurai films that are produced address this aspect of the warrior's emotional spectrum, showing them with a hint of empathy and humanity. The film deftly examines love, honor, and duty against the backdrop of Japan's transformation. Viewers witness a silent romance blossoming between Munezo and Ki as he struggles with conflicting loyalties and his sense of honor is challenged by corrupt superiors. Number 6. When the Last Sword is Drawn, 2002. Samurai and family man Kenichiro Yoshimura is driven to leave his small-town clan for the city in quest of greater income because he's unable to support his wife and kids on the meager wages he receives. He joins the infamous Shinsengumi clan in the course of his quest, where he does everything in his power to obtain money. Yoshimura, who is perceived as a money-grubbing criminal, demonstrates his strength both mentally and physically by upholding his honor, during the momentous time when the emperor rose to power and the shogun fell from grace. By altering people's perspectives on life and their lives, Yoshimura personally illustrates the struggles inherent to the human condition. Number 7. Harakiri, Death of a Samurai, 2011. A samurai from a perished clan, Hanshiro Sugamo, requests authorization in 1635 to commit ritual suicide, or seppuku, in the castle courtyard of Lord E. Kageyu Saito, a senior retainer, tells the story of Squire Motome Chijiwa, another samurai who requested the same thing in 1634. E's aides, sensing that Motome was bluffing to get money, promptly coerced the ritual. In a desperate attempt to heal his ailing wife and child, Motome tried seppuku with a bamboo sword but was unsuccessful. Second in command, Hiko Kyoto Omodaka insisted he slacken the wound, but Saito finally beheaded Motome to put an end to his agony. Repulsed by Motome's horrific demise, Hanshiro is adamant about doing seppuku. He discloses the tragic past of Motome. Following unapproved castle maintenance, Motome's father was exiled. Using the same broken bamboo sword, Motome's wife, Miho, killed herself after their son passed away. A tense showdown following the feudal lord's house results from Hanshiro's desire for vengeance against those who permitted Motome's agonizing death. The movie looks at the themes of shame, honor, and retaliation in a Japan that is changing. Number 8. Rurouni Kenshin, 2012. On to the next. Following the conclusion of the Bakumatsu War in 1868, former assassin Kenshin Himura vowed to protect the weak without resorting to violence. During the transition from the samurai to the New Age, Kenshin travels through Japan brandishing a sword with a reverse edge. Kenshin receives an invitation from Kaoru Kamiya to stay at the school after assisting her in escaping the gangsters of a powerful opium drug lord, Kanryo Takeda, who wishes to use her school for his opium production. Megumi Takani, a drug chemist, on the other hand, runs away from Kanryo and hides in the school. Police officers are being killed by the assassin Batosai, who also attaches messages to their corpses. Sanosuke Sagara, a street fighter, and Kenshin band together to take down their common enemy after Kanryo poisons the populace in order to gain control of the school. Number 9. 13 Assassins, 2010. This film is a remake of 13 Assassins, a 1963 Japanese period drama film directed by Ichi Kudo. The vicious lord Matsudaira Naratsugo of Akashi abuses, tortures, and kills nobles and commoners whenever he wants to. In the year 1844, during the Edo period, as the Tokugawa shogunate is in decline. Since the shogun is his half-brother, his actions go unpunished. The shogun's Minister of Justice, Sir Doi Toshitsura, foresees that civil war will break out between the shogun and the numerous feudal lords that Naratsugo has insulted if he gains a seat on the shogunate council. The Mamiya clan's feudal lord publicly commits seppuku in protest of the shogun's inaction against Lord Naratsugo, who killed the feudal lord's entire family. In an attempt to stop more killings, Sir Doi goes in search of Shimada Shinzaemon, an experienced samurai who is a member of the previous shogun's army. He subtly employs Shinzaemon to gather a squad of assassins to kill Naratsugu. There are 12 samurai on the team, along with an expert hunter. Bringing together this motley crew, Shinzaemon gets ready for a risky mission to kill Lord Matsudaira Naratsugo and prevent his appointment to the influential shogunate council. Number 10. At River's Edge, 2011. Not to be confused with Keanu Reeves' 1987 film of the same name, this 2011 film takes place in the made-up Unasaka domain. The protagonist of the tale is a samurai who finds himself in a moral bind when he must obey an order that might ruin his bond with his own younger sister. In a historical setting, the movie explores the themes of sacrifice, family ties, and duty. The film makes up for its unremarkable plot with visually stunning cinematography that beautifully captures Japan's landscapes. It does not, however, deviate significantly from a clearly defined formula in terms of acting, plot, or direction. Although the sword fights aren't all that memorable, the beautiful scenery here makes up for it. Even though At River's Edge doesn't have the same impact as some other Jidaigeki or period drama films, it's still a pleasant watch overall. Number 11. Unforgiven, 2013. This decade-old film is quite the watch. After the shogunate fell and the early Meiji period began in Japan, we meet Jubei Kamada, a former samurai who had battled the imperial government. Due to his past misdeeds, Jubei is now known as Jubei the Killer and lives in seclusion on a small farm. A brutal incident involving two brothers, Sanosuke and Unosuke Hara, disfiguring a prostitute, takes place in an unnamed frontier town. Ichizo Oishi, the senior law enforcement officer in town, decides not to prosecute the brothers and instead lets them go with a fine. By pooling their money, the other sex workers place a bounty on the brothers. Enter Jubei's old friend Kingo Baba and bounty hunter Masaharu Kitaoji. The latter is accompanied by a young writer who thinks Kitaoji is a brave warrior. But when Oishi takes Kitaoji's swords away, things get heated. Jubei reluctantly rejoins the fight and joins forces with Kingo to secure the bounty and support his family. They come across brash young half-Ainu leader Goro Sawada along the way, who says he's already killed 5 men. The film largely replicates the 1992 original, but it is set in the Hokkaido frontier of Japan. As the characters traverse a morally challenging environment, themes of honor, violence, and redemption converge. Unforgiven, which was released on September 13, 2013 in Japan and September 6, 2013 in Venice, represents Clint Eastwood's masterwork in the context of Japanese history by fusing revenge, samurai ethos, and the struggle for survival in a changing world. Number 12. Love and Honor, 2006. We meet Shinojo, a lowly samurai who lives in Edo period Japan with his devoted and attractive wife, Keo. As a feudal lord's food taster, Shinojo is dissatisfied with his job and hopes to establish a kendo school that welcomes boys from all social classes. But after eating some whelk sashimi, Shinojo gets sick and goes into a coma, which is when fate takes a cruel turn. He finds that the toxin has rendered him blind when he awakens. His uncle asks for assistance because he fears for the couple's survival. High-ranking samurai Toya Shimada offered help, but Keo finds out that he came at her with a price as he forced himself upon her. Since Shinojo feels Shimada should be paying for Keo's payment, they get divorced. However, the truth becomes apparent. The clan lord himself gave the stipend as a token of appreciation. Now blind, Shinojo wants to exact revenge on Keo for her disgrace by honing his sword skills. He issues a challenge to a duel, and during a furious struggle, Shinojo amputates Shimada's arm. Shinojo feels he has exacted revenge on Shimada, who leads a horribly disfigured life. The movie looks at love, giving, and fighting for justice in a society while conflicting with moral standards. The highly regarded samurai trilogy by Yoji Yamada concludes with Love and Honor, which comes after Twilight Samurai, 2002, and The Hidden Blade, 2004. Number 13. Versus, 2000. Samurais and zombies, does it get any better than this? Dark powers beckon those who seek them out in a mystical Japan where 666 portals connect our world to the other side. The 444th portal is referred to as the Forest of Resurrection. The movie begins in 10th century Japan with a lone samurai battling a horde of samurai monsters that resemble zombies. He's no match for a mysterious priest and his band of warriors, no matter how skilled he is. The samurai discovers an ally just in time to avoid death. Time travel to modern-day Japan, where 2 prisoners manage to get out via a forest and come across a Yakuza gang. When prisoner KSC-2-303 learns that the gang has abducted a girl, he starts to have doubts. KSC-2-303 kills one of the Yakuza members following a furious argument, and the victim unexpectedly comes back to life as a zombie. KSC-2-303 flees into the forest with the girl in the midst of the mayhem. Disobeying orders, the Yakuza go after them. They come upon a man who has been crucified en route. After KSC-2-303 takes the deceased man's clothing, the adventure takes a sinister turn. The movie has a peculiar sense of humor that makes it enjoyable. Fans of action and zombie films alike should see this film, which in the second half also shows the hero channeling his inner samurai. Number 14. Blade of the Immortal, 2017. This is the latest addition to our list year-wise. Manji, a master samurai, is cursed with immortality following a fabled battle. A victim of his sister Machi's horrific murder, Manji is aware that he will never truly be whole until he battles evil. When Rin Asano, a young child, approaches Manji, the narrative abruptly shifts. Rin asks for his assistance as a bodyguard in order to exact revenge on Kagehisa Anotsu and the Ido Ryu, a group of samurai assassins under Anotsu's command, for killing her father Kurose. Takashi Miike directed Blade of the Immortal, which is based on the popular manga series by Hiroaki Samura. The film garnered positive reviews from critics despite its box office performance, especially for its handling of fight scenes and the nuanced relationship between the two protagonists. Number 15. Zatoichi, 2003. The story of the movie revolves around a classic theme. Townspeople engaged in a local Yakuza gang war are compelled to pay exorbitant amounts of protection money, and they're saved by a blind swordsman named Zatoichi. Zatoichi eventually offers his help to two geisha siblings, one of whom is actually a man, who are seeking retribution for the murder of their parents. In the meantime, he makes friends with a local farmer and her gambler nephew. 10 years ago, there was a robbery and massacre on their family estate, and the siblings are the only ones who survived. They quickly find out that the same Yakuza wreaking havoc on the small town are also responsible for the murders. Zatoichi uses his sword to cut through a horde of henchmen, and in a duel, he vanquishes the Yakuza's formidable Ronin bodyguard. Later, after surprising the senior Yakuza boss by opening his eyes, Zatoichi wanders into town and confronts the bosses. He kills the second in command and blinds the elderly Yakuza boss, who had been passing for a foolish old waiter up until this point. The film closes with Zatoichi tripping over a rock while walking down a trail, choreographed by renowned Japanese tap dance group, The Stripes. Zatoichi provides enough samurai thrills to satisfy fans of the genre, even though it is by no means the best film based on the well-known character. It's a controversial take on the character, so if you're a Zatoichi fan, you might want to pass on it. However, lore aficionados won't mind. Marvelous verdict! And there you have it, 15 modern-day samurai movies, and like we promised, we didn't just mention 15 Hiroyuki Sanada movies. If this video didn't make you want to go to the mountains and start training like a samurai, nothing will. So, how many movies on this list have you already watched? Let us know in the comments, and also let us know if we missed any of your favorites. We'd love to check them out. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.